All right. Hey, doctors of our Doctors Elite Personal Injury Community. Hey, welcome. We are here again. And hey, we got some new things from Dr. Mark Slater. We're going to introduce him and interview him again. He is rapidly helping many doctors and pain doctors and growing their personal injury practice. And he's actually put together a awesome group on the Facebook community. We definitely want to get the information over to you, and he's going to share that with you today. A little bit about Dr. Mark. He is one of our annual sponsors for this year and 2023. We thank him for his support and everything he's doing for a lot of the doctor members already. And over 20 plus years, had his own practice. He is one of our colleagues, and he's going to share with you a lot of things he's doing in building personal injury practices across the USA and probably Europe these days. I don't know.
I don't know
Dr.
about
Mark,
the
thank you for your time and the energy and all the motivation you're doing for all our doctors. I'm going to turn over the host to you, and then you can go ahead and give us what you got, and we'll kind of take it from there. So, all right.
All right, Tony. Well, I appreciate it. Again, I'm Mark Slater. My company is Prime Spine Consulting, and I'm happy to sponsor the PI Doctors Elite Community with Dr. Tony. It's my second year doing this, and so it's an honor to do that. It's an honor to be in front of thousands of chiropractors who may be looking to grow their personal injury business. And that's all that I do. The PI Doctors Elite Community is a great community. I point my members over because the PI Doctors Elite Community is essential for after you get the PI patient in the door. Clinical excellence, forms for protecting yourself and protecting your bill and making sure you get paid. I mean, all of that stuff is so vital for the success of your personal injury practice. But I stay in my lane. I help doctors market smarter, not harder. I know you heard that before, but it really is true, and I'll explain that in just a minute. Market smarter and a lot faster to bring more PI patients into your waiting room. And that's where I come in. There's a lot of consultants, incredible consultants in the PI community that teach clinical excellence. But I found a gap, or I found a hole in the market. Nobody, or very few people that I found, were successfully instructing chiropractors how to consistently get a certain number of PI patients in your waiting room month after month after month. And it's a problem of lacking two things. And these two things I hammer on in my program: massive numbers and consistency. And if you mix these two ingredients into your PI marketing, you're going to have a nice PI practice. So massive numbers and consistency. So Tony, I created a new group for PI marketing. I'll just go ahead and share it with you. Is that cool, Tony?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, we want to see the information. And again, like he mentioned, and this is Dr. Tony, your administrating founder of our PI Doctors Elite Community. And we're introducing the kind of a liaison community group that Mark has created to help build and grow personal injury practices with his systems. And ours is mostly, procedures and liens and forms. And if attorneys ask you to reduce bills, you've seen it on the community. We just wanted to get this out to our doctor members. We're at almost 3,800 members, and we want to liaison with Dr. Mark here to make sure he gets many of you on his program of Facebook. So, okay, Mark, go ahead. Thanks.
Yeah, and so every week in this group, Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern, I do a live stream. I get on live. You can join me right here in the group. We can interact. You can ask questions, but I present a subject, and I'm going to bang on three pillars. Three pillars. The first one is having a social media plan, because we're in a digital society. Everyone's on this thing, Tony, this little magic rectangle. And this is where all the attorneys and doctors that can be sending you cases, they're hanging out right here. And I talk to you about how you can reach them through your social media, not just producing content. That's not going to move the needle of your business, but learning the strategy of reaching out to them on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and getting in conversations with them. Zoom calls are huge now after the pandemic because all the attorneys learned how to Zoom depositions, Zoom bench trials, Zoom court. So let's leverage this ability. And now we can ask them to get on Zoom calls, which can really accelerate your marketing, because if you're like me, I only eat lunch once a day. How about you, Tony?
I don't even eat lunch sometimes.
Okay, so 0 lunches.
Breakfast and a dinner, probably.
Got you. But so we're talking about like attorney lunches. You can only do 1 of those a day. But if you have the time, you could do multiple Zoom calls with attorneys that can send you cases if you learn the skill of advancing them to a Zoom call. And we do it through the power of direct messaging. Well, why direct messaging? Well, because we're in 2022 and we're in a new age. Email marketing has an open rate. This is high. Business emails in our industry have a 10 to 15% open rate. But if you send messages through Facebook or other social media platforms, the attorneys see it. Almost a 90% open rate. Doesn't mean that they're all going to respond. You don't need everyone to respond. You just need some.
Yeah.
Right. So if you do this in massive numbers every single day, get into some conversations, advance them to Zoom calls or lunches or tours of your office, tours of their office, you're going to make relationships, and those relationships are going to lead to more PI patients in your office. So just wanted to share some blue ocean strategies with you. Well, maybe you've heard that term, maybe you haven't. What's a blue ocean strategy? Well, the opposite of that is a red ocean strategy. A red ocean strategy, I want you to think of shark infested waters, all fighting over one little piece of meat. It's red, there's blood all over the place. That's a red ocean. We're going to market in a blue ocean, a vast sea of blue where there's very little competition. We're going to buck the status quo and do things that perform better in 2022, because things that worked in 2002, 2005, 2010 don't resonate in the market anymore. So that's what I hammer on, a social media strategy. But the core of my program is to help you hire, train, coach, optimize, and track a marketing liaison for personal injury. So you have someone in the field, in the market, walking into urgent cares, doctor's offices, and more importantly, law firms, to create relationships, build rapport, get you more lunches, more Zoom calls with the people that can be sending you cases, so that you can get on the map of the people that can send you PI cases.
You know, it's funny, the last interview we did, you were talking about the tech scene and, you know, more upfront with the attorneys. And we actually shifted over to our staff on follow-ups to get the attorneys' cell phones. And it's been amazing, the response that we get with just the text. And you're absolutely right. Everybody sees the text messages, whether they respond or not. We all see them. You know, as we act every day, we get our text messages and know who they are and who don't come in through you. So no doubt what Dr. Mark was saying is definitely valid, and more credibility to you with what he's doing with his systems to help you out, and great attorney rapport. Not only that, just growing your PI practice.
Yeah, and Tony, that's a great point. But when you're reaching out to new attorneys, you're not going to have their cell phone number.
No,
after you establish the relationship, you're going to get that. So the first step is just reaching out to them through direct messaging, through social media, because these attorneys are on this phone for 5 hours a day. Most of it's for business, taking care of their clients, court, and stuff like that. But the other time is just being distracted, just scrolling social media, and they're going to see their messages on here. And when you send 1,000 messages in a month, it's going to radically change the amount of PI patients that you can attract in your office. Think about that month after month after month. And I get this question all the time. Well, Mark, there's only 2,000 attorneys in my whole state. Let's use that for an example. Well, not everyone you send a message to is going to respond. People are busy. These lawyers have trials, they go on vacation, they sponsor golf tournaments. Maybe they just weren't ready. So 90 days later, you can go back to the people that didn't respond to your first message and just send them another message. So it's not a one-shot deal, right? In marketing, they say it takes about 10 impressions to get somebody to take action, right? How many times do they have to see your ad, your name, your content, a message from you before they go, let me call this guy, or let me respond to this guy. So it's just a process. And then in closing, Tony, I want to talk about the third pillar of my program. So the first one is having a social media plan and reaching out to the people that can send you cases through direct messaging. Next is getting you to hire a trained coach, and I'll help you coach and track this marketing liaison in the field to grow your PI practice. That's the second pillar. So that while you're busy doing what you were trained to do, which is taking care of your patients in your practice, you have somebody in the field, in the market, representing you, your brand, and your practice, creating relationships that are going to bring you PI patients. And then, Tony, this third pillar that I want to talk about is your communications. I always ask doctors, if I was an attorney and this is a Zoom call, I'm going to ask you, why should I work with you? What's your big promise? And what happens is these attorneys just spout off all their services. That's how you get attorneys to glaze their eyes to glaze over, because everyone kind of has the same services. What are the benefits of working with you? What makes you different? What's your point of differentiation? In other words, if all these chiropractors out here are vanilla, what makes you Carmel Rocky Road so that they remember you? So I help you in your communications with these attorneys, not only craft your point of differentiation, what makes you different, but I also help you in your communications with the attorneys. What are their pain points? What pisses them off in your documentation? Or when you have a marketer or walk into their office, what turns them on? What makes your communications resonate with them? And when you know what their pain points are, because they're different from our pain points as doctors, but if you know and you can articulate and ask questions based on those attorneys' pain points, they're going to remember you, and you're going to be a trusted resource for their PI clients in your area.
Yeah, and I've talked to many of our members, and a lot of them will say, well, what do I say to these attorneys? And that's where Dr. Mark can come in to guide you on what to do, what to say, what to look forward to ask the attorneys, and what the attorneys will ask you. And this is something why a lot of our doctors don't even contact the attorneys when they're working with them. And thus down the line, when settlements happen, their med pays are stolen, they make them reduce their bills. You've got to have a good rapport with your attorney right at the beginning of the case if they're new. And this is where Dr. Mark can come in and share you his
little tip, Tony, for you docs out there that are hesitant, or you're procrastinating, or you have fear that you don't want to take action. 80 to 90% of these Zoom calls or lunches is just, who are you? Are you a good person? Can I trust you? Are you married? Are you single? Do you have kids? Do you have no kids? Are they in college? Are they young? Do they play softball? Do they play soccer? Do they like fishing? Does the attorney, is he a hunter? Is he a fisherman? Does he like golf? Does he play tennis? Like, getting to know this person on a human level. And then the other 10 to 20% is the shop talk, right? Where you should talk about the benefits of working with your practice, not just rattle off all your services. Nobody cares. Right. But what's going to make them trust you, and what is your point of differentiation so that they remember you? And that's how you're going to get them to send you cases.
Yeah, no doubt, doctors. And the ones you're working with now that you are that Dr. Mark is mentioning, you are comfortable with, you're working with, you know a little bit about their personal social activities already. So you know what he's talking about. That makes it best when you're working together.
And Tony, attorneys retire, they get indicted, they die, so you have to have a constant process to meet new attorneys, get on their radar, so that you're constantly growing your PI practice like this and stop with all this.
Right. Hey, and look at it this way, Dr. Mark gives you 300 or 400 personal injury attorneys, and just 20 of them send you one case a month. Out of all those, at $5,000 or $10,000, whatever the case might be, hey, you're rolling in personal injury. So just look at that.
$3,000, that's an additional $60,000 of revenue.
Right.
And that's just conservative.
So, all right. So let's touch on, before we leave today, you're the president of the Prime Spine Consulting, and now as a second entity, we're bringing in the Facebook group community. It's called Prime Spine Consulting, helping chiropractic doctors and pain doctors. I just want to mention that he's got that there. What is there a difference between both two, or why don't you just explain a little bit about Prime Spine Consulting as opposed to the Facebook doctors community, a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, the name of my company is Prime Spine Consulting. So I have a whole, program. I have a video training program, coaching webinars every single week. And I also have a separate Facebook group for my private clients. And in that separate Facebook group, I do 2 coaching webinars every week based on questions I get throughout the week from the doctors in my program. Doctors come to me with questions. And if doctors in my program have that question, doctors throughout the country may also be having that question as well. So I'll address it. I'll do the research. I'll address it in those bi-weekly coaching webinars for my clients so that I can help everyone in my private client community. So I help chiropractors. 80 to 90% of my clients are chiropractors, but I can help any provider in the PI space. So the pain doctors, so that includes interventional pain doctors, fellowship trained spinal surgeons. I can help extremity surgeons too, but the fact of the matter is, in car accidents, most of these injuries are related to the spine, but there's an occasional broken wrist, elbow, rotator cuff, knee, ankle in these accidents. So any provider in the PI space, including physical therapists, interventional pain docs, as well as chiropractors, that's who I can help. If you're a provider and you want more PI cases, you don't have to turn your entire practice into a personal injury mill, but you can have a cash vertical, a commercial insurance vertical, a Medicare vertical, and this recession-proof personal injury vertical, where you're constantly getting PI patients in your office. Personal injury doesn't care what the stock market is doing, whether it's up or down. Car accidents happen in any financial climate. So it's almost a recession-proof way to build your practice by having this PI vertical in your office. So if you're at 5 PI patients a month and you just need 10 or 15 a month, I can help you. Or maybe you're at 150 PI patients a month, multiple locations, and you want to hit that 200 PI patient per month number. I'm going to share with you the strategies that work in 2022 that are not antiquated, that'll help you get on the map of every PI patient in town. And Tony, I just want to share one thing with during this interview. I keep talking about get on the map. Now, this is an interactive Google map that every PI attorney that I know has in their office. Now, this is just a screenshot. So this is a map of Greater Atlanta. The red marks are chiropractors that this particular attorney has relationships with. The blue are medical. So if this attorney gets a client that lives or works in this area right here of Atlanta called Lilburn, if it's a soft tissue case, this chiropractor is going to get the case. If they need medical intervention, it'll be this blue guy. I don't care if this red guy over here in Marietta sent this attorney 10 unattached cases last month. No sane person is going to drive 45 minutes across Atlanta traffic 4 times a week or 5 times a week to get a chiropractic visit. It's not going to happen. So you just got to get on this map of every attorney that can send you a case.
Yeah, that's a pretty good schematic there. I like that. So pretty good stuff. Okay, so we're going to post everything below this interview video today with Dr. Mark Slater on both Prime Spine Consulting and the Facebook group. And that's a free Facebook group to join, isn't it, Mark?
Free to join. Yeah, just got to answer some 3 questions or mandatory questions because I want to make sure I'm only letting doctors in there and that doctors that focus on PI. So everyone in the group can be rest assured I'm not letting people in from foreign countries. Not because I'm against that, just I don't know that my process will work in other countries because I'm not familiar with their personal injury laws.
Well, no doubt it's more valuable too, knowing that you are working with the doctors in your community instead of real estate people and therapists and everybody else that gets all in these other communities. And that's why actually our PI Doctors Elite community pretty much has 98.9% all PI doctors only. And yeah, they get mad sometimes. They want to come in, but we won't let them in because we want it valuable like yours. So, all
Tony,
right.
I reject almost as many people as I accept. So I know what you're talking about.
I know. All right. Well, thank you for your time today and sharing. And I know you'll do great things for all our doctors as we move forward in growth together. And you got any more to add before we let you go there.
No, Tony, that's it. Just if you want more PI patients, the two key ingredients are massive numbers and consistency, because that's what creates the compound effect. The compound effect was a book written by Darren Hardy. He was the editor of Success Magazine, called The Compound Effect. And the compound effect says small, consistent, little actions done every day consistently lead to big results down the road. And if you know what those little marketing actions are and you're consistent with them and make them non-negotiable, that's how the top entrepreneurs, the top doctors in this program dominate the personal injury market. So, Tony, thanks again for having me. I do appreciate it. And have a great Memorial Day
Thanks
weekend.
for your time, your support, and all your expertise, Mark. And we'll see you on the communities there. All right.